Hi, I'm Julie, Fei-Fan Balzer, and today I'm going to show you how to cut felt with your ScanNCut in order to create a really cute needle case made from felt. I have two pieces of felt. They are arbitrary sizes. This is 9.5 by 4, and then this is slightly smaller so that it fits on it, but you can make it any size that works for you. You could also make it a different shape if you wanted, but essentially what we're going to do is just fold these in half, and then I have some pins here, and what I want to do with the pins is very simple. I just want to indicate where that fold line is because we're going to stitch down that center line. So there you go. So now we're going to go ahead and go to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew straight down and straight back, and I'm starting in the center so that I can slowly pull the pin. And then all I have to do is clip any excess threads, and the basic little needle book is ready. So here you can see with all the threads stitched, it folds over, and then you have various pages. If you wanted to add in more than one piece of felt, you could, but essentially you can take your pins and needles and you simply place them into the felt, close it up, and now everything is safe and in here. So now we're going to go ahead and decorate the cover. I'm here at the ScanNCut, and we're going to go into the built-in patterns, and I'm looking for some flowers. So I just want some basic flower shapes, and I'm going to look through and see. Now, even these ones that are layered, I have the option of just using the bottom part if I want. And see, that's a nice shape too that I really like for a flower. So you can pick whatever it is. Ooh, that one's kind of cool. Ooh, I like so many of these. So you just want to pick a couple shapes that you think will work for you. So I think I'm going to go with this one first. And that's way too big. My needle case is much smaller than that. So I'm going to take this down to about 1 inch. So the machine's going to tell me that this is as small as they can make it. And I'm going to say that's okay. So, okay. And of the 3 parts, I only want this part. I'm not interested in the other parts. Although you could cut those if you wanted. In fact, you know what? I'm changing my mind. Let's do it. Let's cut all 3 parts. So we're going to cut all 3 parts. And let's do, let's say 3 of them. And say, now this is going to tell me that all 3 of these parts are grouped, but I actually want them to be ungrouped because I want to be able to shift them into different color groups. So I'm going to say set, and now they're here and I can see them. Now because they're ungrouped, I can just grab and pull apart all the different pieces, just like this. So now I can group them by color so I can cut several different things at the same time. Let's say I want the flowers to be cut out of one color. And then I want the middle level cut out of a different color. And then I want the very top level cut out of yet a 3rd color. Here we go. Although to tell the truth, I don't think I want that level at all. So I might actually go ahead and delete them out. One of the things that I love about the ScanNCut is that things really are customizable. You can take patterns and find ways to make them your own. Okay, so I've deleted all of that out. And now I think I want to add one more shape. So I'm going to say okay and add, back to pattern, back into the flowers. Let's add one more flower to the mix. How about something super simple like this one? Say okay, okay. Let's do 3 of those. And that's fine, we'll make them a different color. So now I'm just gonna lay my felt out, although I might want some leaves too. So let's add, back to pattern, and let's go grab some leaves. So again, when you're cutting things this small, you want to keep it into really simple shapes. So even though some of these things are really fun, they're not going to look great when they're really, really tiny. So we want to keep it simple, simple, simple. So this is a really simple leaf. So now I'm just going to bring all these leaves down into another area. Okay, so now it's time for me to lay my felt out on the mat and then we'll scan it in. So I have 4 pieces of stiff felt laid out. It's better to use stiff felt when you're cutting detailed pieces with the ScanNCut. Then I have some washi tape, and you could also use masking tape, but I'm just going to go ahead and tape down the edges of the felt. I am also using a mat that has a high tack fabric support sheet on it, and what that does is it makes sure that everything is really well secured to the mat. Now you'll notice I'm being very careful and I'm trying not to go outside the black edge, so I'll actually rip the tape anywhere that it extends past there because I want to secure this, but I don't want to interfere with any of the markings that are here on the mat. So let me just finish taping this up. And now let's scan it into the machine. So the first step is to load it into the machine. Once the mat is loaded, we're going to press the scan button and press start. Now I can see my different shapes and colors on the mat, and so I want to move the pieces so that they'll cut not where the tape is. Once they're all arranged, I'm going to say OK, and then select cut. I want to make sure that everything is set at normal. It's currently set to pressure 2 and speed of 3. And what I want to do is make sure that this is at the default. So I'm looking for the little black number. There we go, 5. And the cut pressure, there we go, is on auto. So everything is set to auto, which is great. The other thing is I happen to be using, this is a regular auto blade, but it's one that I only use to cut fabric, which is why I put a pink piece of tape on it that says fabric, or has an F on it rather. So now I'm ready to go ahead and do a test cut. And I want to make sure that it's also not cutting on the tape. And then I'm going to press start and we're going to see how it does. So let's take a look at that test cut. You'll notice the machine went around 3 times and it looks great. The hole looks great. Everything looks great. So we can go ahead and press start. Once it's done cutting, you can unload the mat and then we can remove the tape, and eventually we'll remove all of these little pieces that we cut. Once you have your pieces cut out, you can figure out how you want to arrange them. You may decide that you don't want to use certain pieces, or you may decide that you want to cut additional pieces in different colors, different sizes, etc. But go ahead and figure out all of your pieces and then we're going to stitch them on. Now that I have an arrangement I'm happy with, I also have some snips and some embroidery floss. And what I'm going to do is stitch down each of these parts. I'm not really worried about them coming off, so I'm not going to go crazy about it. I mostly just want to do some decorative stitching to keep everything down. So let's see. I'm going to start with, I have this variegated yellow, and I'm using a really big needle. So here's a little trick which I use to thread, which is I put the thread all the way in my fingers and then I push the thread through the eye, and it comes through every single time. So then you can decide whether you want to put a knot in your thread or whether you don't. I'm going to put a knot, which is not the way that traditional embroiderers do it, but you know, it's just an easier way for me to do it. So let me snip the excess thread off of here. And then I'm actually going to remove this flower from here, and I'm going to hide the knot. And I'm going through both layers. And I'm just going to do some decorative X's. Again, you know, it's not like this needle case is going to go through the wash. It's just going to sit on my desk or in a drawer or in my sewing box. So I mostly am interested in doing a couple decorative stitches. So you can see I have a little X there. I'm going to work on another little X. And if you don't like these X's, then you could do French knots, you can do regular straight stitching. If you don't want a hand stitch, you could certainly machine stitch this. It's totally up to you. This is your needle case. So you can see that I've added lots of decorative stitching, and now each of these pieces is just individually sewn. Nothing is actually stuck down yet. So I'm going to go ahead and sew them down using some decorative stitching along the way. You don't have to do it this way, it's totally up to you, but I just prefer to give myself a little bit of space. So I've stitched everything down, which you can see sort of on the back here, and I thought I would show you how I just end all these threads, which is I'm not going all the way through. You can't see the needle on this side. I'm sort of going through half of the felt here, and I might go under a couple of existing threads or something like that, but you're just trying to basically weave the tail in, and you want to check that you're not going through the front. But once you've done that, you can just clip it and it's set, so no need to knot it or anything in the back. The next step is I have a piece of felt that's the same color as my cover, and I want to cover up all that stitching. So it's slightly smaller, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to use some fabric glue, something that's okay for felt and for fabric, and I'm simply going to glue the two pieces together. So now all of our stitching is hidden on the inside and our book is ready to use. I can put my needle right here. I can use the inside here. I can put my pins in. You can do whatever you want, but now this is all safely tucked away, perfect to put into my sewing basket. Thanks so much for watching. For more tips, tricks, and tutorials, be sure to visit my blog at balzerdesigns.typepad.com, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, don't forget about the ScanNCut website at scanncut.com.